We had a little issue when we had some big weather come through. We lost our wind instrument. It's the direction and the speed. Well, I was kind of worried about it. It's a pretty expensive unit. It's all the way at the top of the mast, and stupid thing just crapped out in the middle of the night. Well, this is a really strange fix, but I think I have it sorted. A little background here. The wind instrument is on a NEXUS network, and the Garmin system that we have uses a NEMEA2000 network. So there's a little black box down here. Garmin actually calls it the black box, that converts the NEXUS to NEMEA. And I've read online that there's been a lot of problems with that box, or the transducer up top, the little spinny guy up at the top or something. At any rate, these things fail, like they just pop like popcorn, I guess, evidently. And they're expensive. The unit up at top is close to $400 just for the little wind vane guy. This Garmin black box here is about $170. So you really just don't want to be swapping these things in and out. Well, I did some searching on Cruisers Forum and found a really good post. It's like 4 pages long, and read through it. And there's a guy at the end. This guy's like, oh yeah, I'm a network guy and I understand these buses really well. And he had the same problem with his. And he said, you know, I think what the problem is that they really need 120 ohm resistor across the signal pair. It was like, wait, what? That sounds super random, but especially 120 ohms seems really low to me, but okay. I'm like, great. So I ordered a resistor kit. You can't just buy one resistor. So I bought a resistor kit that happened to have 120 in it. Now I've got 1,000,000 resistors, so all good there. And I bought this, which is just a standard NEXUS cable. It's a 4-pin connector on this thing. Evidently they have a 3-pin and a 4-pin, but this is the 4-pin. And I checked the voltages on it. Garmin wants you to check the voltage across this guy. It's being powered by the NEMEA network, actually. It's where it gets its power from, and it should be 12 volts. When I checked it, it was at 10 volts. So I'm like, that's not cool. When I unplug the transducer from the top of the mast, it goes up to about 11.1 or 2 or something like that, but still it's below 12 volts. And I was thinking, man, but it worked before. That doesn't make any sense. How did it not work before? One more little detail is that this black box has 2 NEXUS connectors on it. I think they're just sitting in parallel. So I've got the wind instrument plugged into one of them, and I'm plugging my other cable into the other, and I'm just checking the values here. Now here, check this out. There is my 120 ohm resistor across the signal pair. That's all it is. It's just a simple cable. It's on 4 wires. These guys are the power and ground. But that's all I did was just screw that guy onto the top of it, and all of a sudden, here, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, this is the NEMEA2000. This is our NEXUS connector. Now you can see we've got a flashy green light here, occasional flashy green light, and then over here we have a flashing red light, if any. There it goes. So with our resistor here and our new cable, I'm going to plug that in here and screw it in. All right, there we go. Look at that. Both of them flashing green. That's the way it should be. Look at that. That's like magic. And all because of this little resistor. Wow, hard to believe. Just across the signal pair, and that was all it was.
If you like this content, consider subscribing to our channel. If you want real-time updates and benefits, consider another level and become a patron. It really helps us out.
All right, I'm going to leave this guy here, and let's go back and see if we've got our wind instruments back. All right, and lo and behold, look at that. Our wind instruments are back online. We've got a true wind speed of 10.8 knots, and we've got our angle as well, a true wind angle. That's amazing. That's all it was. So this has to be one of the crazier fixes I've done on the boat so far. I do have a whole brand new transducer to go up on the mast in case anything ever happens to it. I was pretty certain that wasn't it, and I know it's an expensive piece, but if we're ever out on a passage somewhere and something happens, I don't know, a bird lands on it or something and breaks it. To me, it's a mission critical piece. We need to know how fast the wind is going. This is a catamaran, so we reef on the numbers, and you need to know the numbers, and that's super, super important. Weird fix. I'm super stoked that that's all it was. For a more permanent solution, I decided to solder the 120 ohm resistor directly across the signal pairs for the NEXUS connector on the circuit board. I'm testing this out, and we can see the 2 green LED lights. A little hard to see the one on the right, but that's the one we're looking for actually. That is the NEXUS light. The one on the left is the NEMEA light. So look at that, both of them blinking green like that. That's what they should do if they're working properly. After the resistor was in and tested, I put a glob of caulk over the top of it just to keep it from moving around. We're leaving Annapolis tomorrow morning, but there's one chore I want to get done before we go, and that has to do with the anchor. So we've got an upgraded anchor swivel and a mantis clamp for the bridle, so it's going to be pretty sweet. This is the mantis swivel. Comes with the swivel, comes with a really monstrous shackle, some tape here, a cotter pin, and some seizing wire. And then over here, this is the brand new, super awesome, super secret, super great mantis chain hook. So this is for the bridle, and it also comes with a, look at the size of this thing. It's a monster. So big, huge, huge, huge shackle. Our chain is 1/2 inch, so it's pretty darn big. They make 3 versions of this. There's an S1, S2, and S3. So ours is the 3/8 to 1/2 inch size. So it's a really big one. Anyway, let me show you what we've got right now, and you can see why we think we need to upgrade it. All right, this is our anchor locker, and that's all that we've got on the current anchor. It is a Mantis 85-pound anchor, really nice anchor, but that's all we've got. We've got this big chain, and then we've got this shackle here, and then just that. So no swivel whatsoever. Then for our bridle, all we really have is just this guy, which is just a big carabiner. That's all it is. And I don't trust this, you know, kind of as far as I can throw it. So I really looking to upgrade this. I think it's very convenient, this, because it just, you know, it's so easy to just put it on the chain. So easy, but not feeling it. The instructions for installing all this stuff are pretty straightforward. For the clamp, it's just a matter of the shackle. It's pretty simple, and then we'll put some seizing wire on the shackle itself. For the swivel, we will need to sort of assemble it a little bit, and I don't think it's gonna be that bad. It will also get seizing wire, and its shackle will get seizing wire as well. They do include this really nice cotter pin that you can use in place of the seizing wire on the swivel. I don't know, I'm gonna try the seizing wire. If it becomes a fuss, then this is so easy to just install and then put it on. I really don't have any experience. I'm gonna go with the seizing wire because it's tried and true. Might switch to this later, but I think it's okay. All right, let's get to installing this. Step 1 was to tie off the anchor. I've got the hoop of the anchor here tied off to our spinnaker halyard. So that's not going anywhere. And that will hopefully save me from having to go for a swim in this icy water down to go retrieve the anchor, because that would be pretty stupid. So we'll keep this on until we're absolutely done and we know everything's great. Then the next step, as I mentioned, is going to be this shackle. And I've already tried to get this off at one point, and it just sort of twisted, and I left it because I didn't really need to take it off. My guess is it's pretty seized on there. It looks like it is on this side as well. It's going to be almost impossible to break this thing loose, but we'll give it a try. If not, I've got a grinder and we'll grind that out. I'd love to keep this shackle if I could. It's always nice to have a big shackle on board. Let's see if we can get that thing off. That's loosening up. I did not expect that at all. And this is my expanded collapsy ratchet. I love this thing. So you can pull this out and make it quite long, or push it in and make it shorter. At its full length, it's about the size of a breaker bar. It's actually pretty sweet, and it's 1/2 inch. So it's plenty big enough. It has a lock on the back so your socket doesn't fly out. There we go. Just a nice tool. Wow, I did not in a million years expect that to come off. So this is the part where if you forgot the first step, you're going to be kind of in a bad place, because I'm going to remove this shackle, and thankfully our anchor is already tied off. If it wasn't, it would go for a swim. There we go. I should be able to pull this out. Look at that. I just really thought there was no chance this would. I'm just floored by that. All right, now we have a slightly used but still in very good operating condition shackle. that we can throw and ship stores. The chain looks fine, so I'm not going to bother with like destroying a link or cutting a link off the end. It doesn't look any different than any of the other links. And our chain is in generally good condition, I would say. It's obviously galvanized. It has a little bit of deposits on it, but really, it looks to be in really good shape. Okay, all right. So next step is going to be to assemble our Mantis swivel and get it hooked up to the anchor. The swivel comes sort of as a little bit of an assembly here. There's a piece in the middle here. There's a pin you don't want to lose, an oblong pin. Very, very important. And not a round pin, it's an oblong pin, so it can handle more, I guess it can handle more shear. So that's pretty sweet, actually. Put that guy over here. And then there's this housing as well. This is all one piece. But these guys here do split apart. So they go together, they're just part of the swivel. So what we're going to do, and per the instructions, is we're going to wrap this surface with this tape. It looks like it's plumber's tape pretty much, just to hold it together so it assembles well. And I don't know if there's any other function to it or not, but yeah, I think it's going to be okay. These are the holes for our seizing wire, so we'll want to make sure that we don't put any tape over those holes. With a lot of tape. I like to wrap it in the direction which it's going to turn. If you got that right. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's just a Teflon plumber's tape, that's all this is. Okay, that should do it. With this piece all wrapped up, the next step is to feed your chain through the hole here. Great, kind of want to remember that step. Then it goes inside the slot here, and we're going to put our pin through to hold it in place. Simple enough, there we go. And should look like that. Looks pretty good. Roll this guy back up. And then we just need to just sort of tighten this up a little bit. Doesn't have to be super tight. We just need to align the slot with the hole here so that we can get our seizing wire through. So if we were to use the cotter pin, it would just go straight through like that, lock off, which is actually pretty sweet. And then you just pull these guys either way. There's got to be a reason why this isn't the sweetest setup. I don't know. Kind of like that, actually. I have a feeling that what's going to happen is it's going to be very hard to get these pins all the way down, and they're always going to stick up a little bit, and I think they're going to get caught on things. So I think the seizing wire is going to be a better way to go. They supply 3 sets of seizing wire. 2 of them are going to be used on the swivel and 1 on the shackle. I also have a pair of seizing wire pliers that I bought. You can use just needle nose pliers if you want, or just regular pliers. But a pair of pliers is certainly pretty helpful. You're going to have to kind of tug on the wire as you pull it through, so you need something to hold on to it. We'll set one of these aside. There's no real mystery to this. We're just going to seize one side and then seize the other independently. To just pull this through, you're going to need a little bit of a tail to spin it off. Bring this guy around, then go through the hole. Stay on the same side make sure that your wire sits in the slot, okay? And then back through another time, okay? Let's back through again. And roll it up to here. Okay, and that's where we're gonna start. Clamp this guy on. Okay, there we go. It's clamped on together, and you can just pull this guy. That's the way it's supposed to work. You just pull it, or you can just twist it by hand. All right, that's pretty tight, and that's kind of it. Now, all we have to do at this point is just to push our little twist into the hole. We can cut off this tail. There it goes, broke off. Maybe a pair of needle nose pliers would be the way to go with this. There we go. So we're going to seize the other side. Like that. Same as last time, only better. Okay. And there we have it, sports fans. The swivel is installed and seized in place. Looking pretty sweet. The only thing left is to install the shackle. This big guy here. The round bit of the shackle is going to go on the end of the anchor, and the bolt is going to go through the swivel. Put our shackle through here. There we go. I'm also going to use a little bit of blue Loctite here. Don't need a ton of it, just a bit. This stuff is heavy. Super heavy. we go. I think that's about as tight as I can get it. With our shackle on, all we have to do is now just seize it in place. Leave a little bit out. Looks pretty good. Don't go any more crazy than that. And we need to cut our tail. Not too much though. Okay. I think it's going to be about the best we've got there. So that looks pretty good. It's seized on. We don't have any sharp edges and nothing sticking out to get caught on. Same here. Our swivel is doing the swivel thing. Okay. All right, well that's the Mantis swivel installed. Super easy process, right? Boy, that was the most difficult thing you're going to run into is getting your old one off. Now, I also read some stuff about this. You would never want to actually attach a swivel directly to the shank on the anchor. You always want to use a shackle on it as well. And the reason is that if you clamp onto this thing like this and clamp on sideways like this, then when the chain gets loaded to the side, it will not be able to move and it will literally snap your swivel off. So this, having a big shackle on it, allows it to move side to side just fine, up, down, everywhere. So it's a really good way to keep from damaging your swivel. And you know, Mantis completely knows what they're doing, so this is a super sweet way to do it. This thing is serious too. It has a UBS, it looks like, of 16 tons. So, and then a working load of 3.2 tons. So the ultimate, I think UBS is ultimate brake strength. That's 16 tons. Jeepers, which means actually you could get close to lifting the entire boat with this thing. Lifting it. That's insane. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about this like ever again. I will sleep very well at night knowing that this thing is holding our anchor to our chain, which is attached to our boat, which means it's not going anywhere. So super sweet. All right, next stop is to do the anchor bridle and add our new clamp. That's going to be pretty cool, and we'll check it out on the chain and see how it works. Here's everything we're going to be using. We just have our brand new Mantis. Look at that clamp. That thing's so serious. Pull it out like that, and then it snaps back in really easily. Boom. Pretty sweet. This one's for 3/8 to 1/2 inch. We have 1/2 inch chain. And then we got this big old monster shackle. So we'll just pull the pin out of our shackle for now. This is what we had before. It's really just a carabiner. And yeah, not feeling it with this. Alright. Now there might be some question as to the radius of that. So this thing is really small. This guy is quite a bit bigger, and I know there's a ratio between the size of the rope or line here and the size that it has to go around. So I think we've moved up. But we can take a look at this and you can see that, yeah, it was a bit tight there, huh? It's just a bit tight. I think it's okay. I don't know, I'll probably want to replace this bridle before too awfully long anyways, but I think it's fine. If you don't think so, let me know down in the comment section what you think about that. If you feel that the bridle is just a little old and tired, it only has a season on it, and it came from West Marine, so it's their big bridle set that was installed on the boat. Not a super fan of it. I think it's a little bit underrated for the boat, so I think I'd really like to get the big Mantis bridle. So maybe that's an upgrade we'll do a little bit later down the road, but let me know what you think down in the comments. Well, we're just going to put our shackle on here, and then it just goes here. I mean, it's really, there's nothing else to it but this. So once again, we're going to put some little Loctite love on the threads. Here we go. That's about as tight as I can get it. And we're going to seize. Now this one's interesting. So the hole goes straight through it. The other one only went through two faces, so this face and that face. This one actually goes all the way straight through it. We got our seizing wire again here. because that sticking out like that's going to get caught on this and it's going to be a thing. So I'm going to make sure it's out of the way as best it can be. All right, well, there we go. That was easy enough. Installed, ready to go. So let's test it out. I think the operation of this is pretty straightforward. Pull the pin and release the bottom of the clamp. Just put it across one of the chain hooks here and just snap it in place. And that is super serial, not going anywhere. Look at that. That is so serial. That's gonna be nice. And then when you pull it up, super simple, just pull this and boom, off it comes. So I think that's gonna be great. That's the Mantis swivel and the Mantis clamp installed and ready to go. And I feel so much better that we're not relying on this little guy to hold the entire boat in a real blow. Yay! Stay tuned for an upcoming episode where I detail this. This is our anchor buoy. It's really simple to put together, but gives you so much information. So you can see, there's our anchor off the port bow. But when you go and look at the bridle, it looks as though the anchor's actually just straight ahead of the boat. But it's not. It's actually off to the port side a bit. It is so helpful to know exactly where the anchor is. So stay tuned for that.
Join us next time as we install a solar arch and upgrade all of our solar, and then we transition into a battery upgrade project. Thanks for watching our video to the end, and we hope you all have a happy 2025.